In today's video, learn how to play advanced neo-soul chord progressions on your guitar. Enjoy! How's it going? I'm Dave, and my channel is all about helping you create awesome neo-soul, R&B, and other modern sounds on your guitar. If you're new here, and that sounds like your kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click the notification bell so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. So, today's video, all about advanced neo-soul chord progressions. This is the third part in a series on neo-soul chord progressions. The first part was beginner chord progressions. The second part was intermediate chord progressions, and now we're on to our advanced chord progressions. These chord progressions are going to utilize cool extended chords and passing chords and some really interesting techniques that will really get your chord progressions spiced up a little bit. So let's get straight into the lesson. Alright, so we are in the key of A today, just like the previous two videos. We're going to be starting off with a 4, 5, 6 like we have in the previous two videos. But of course, this is an advanced chord progression, so I'm going to be building on it a lot more. So in the key of A, a 4, 5, 6 is D, E, and F sharp minor. So let's listen to the full modified chord progression, and then I'll jump into an explanation for you. Alright, so we're starting off on our 4 chord, which is D major, and I'm playing a D major 9 voicing here. I'm playing 11, 11, 10, 12, hammering on that 12th fret, okay? And that's on the top 4 strings. Then I'm pulling off that 12th fret and going to this voicing here. So what this is a drop 3 voicing. If you don't know what a drop 3 voicing is, it's basically where we take a 4-note chord and we take the 3rd highest note and drop it down an octave, and that's what this is, okay? So we're playing another D major voicing. This is a D major 7, okay? We're playing 9 on the A, 7 on the G, 10 on the B, and 9 on the high E. Okay, so we're still on D major. Then we're playing these 2 diminished chords here. Alright, so we're playing a G sharp diminished 7th. So that's 6, 7, 6, 7 on the top 4 strings. And then we're playing another diminished 7th chord. We're playing a B diminished 7th chord, which is 9, 10, 9, 10 on the top 4 strings. We can use diminished 7th chords as a passing chord to lead us into another chord. So what we're doing is we're leading into another D major 7 voicing. Okay, so this D major 7 voicing is 7, 7, 7, 9 on the top 4 strings. So altogether, even though we've done, 5 different chord voicings here, 3 of them are still D major, and we're still on that 4 in our chord progression. Now we're going to stay on this D for a little bit longer, but we're going to just move to another chord and come back. Okay, so we're playing this chord here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're turning it into a minor chord. I think in the previous video I talked about how you could turn your 4 chord into a minor chord, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're moving the same shape up 3 frets, so we're playing 10, 10, 10, 12. And instead of it being a D major 7 now, we're playing a D minor 9. Okay? This could be seen as an F major 7, but we're viewing it as a D minor 9. Okay? Imagine with the root note. There, like that. We're doing that, turning it into a minor chord, going back to the major 7. Okay? So D major 7, D minor 9, D major 7. Okay? From there, we are playing some more diminished 7th parting chords. Okay, so we're playing it at the 10th fret, 10, 11, 10, 11, so that's a C diminished 7th, and then a D sharp diminished 7th, 13, 14, 13, 14. Now instead of playing the 5 as an E7, I've replaced it for a C sharp 7, okay, as this has more tension leading into our 6, okay. We're not really playing a 4, 5, 6, but we kind of are, okay. We're just kind of changing the 5 for another chord, okay. We're playing this C sharp 7, but we're playing it up here, okay. So that's 11, 13, 12, 13 on the top 4 strings. Okay. This is a secondary dominant. It leads us nicely into our F sharp minor 7, which is our 6th chord. And I take this top note, just run it up the scale. And then we want to resolve on this note here, which is the 16th fret. Okay, so we're playing 13, 14, 16, 17, and resolving on the 16th fret. And when we resolve on that 16th fret, we then go to our 6th chord. So we're playing 16, 14, 17, 16. This is a F sharp minor 9 chord. Root, 3rd, 7th, 9th. And that's the entire chord progression. So for most of the chord progression, we're just staying on our 4 really. So that's a D, that's a D, okay? We're using our diminished passing chords to go back to another D, okay? We're still on our 4, but we've turned it minor, and then we've turned it major again. Okay, so most of the chord progression has been just the 4 chord, yeah? Then we're playing the diminished chords to lead us into our C sharp 7, which we're using instead of our 5 chord, okay? And then we're running into our 6th chord, okay? Hope you can see that we can stay on a chord and kind of still keep the chord progression quite interesting by using passing chords, by using different variations, turning it into a minor chord, bringing it back to a major chord again. Lots of different options you've got there. Now let's take a look at the second chord progression. This second chord progression is from my book Chord Charisma 2.0, which I'll talk about later on in the video. This is what you can kind of expect to learn when you get my book. There's a lot to unpack with this chord progression, so let's get straight into it. We're starting on our 1 chord, A major, okay? We're going to 4, which is D major 7, okay? But we want to do a little passing chord, so we're adding this little C sharp major 7 or a D flat major 7, okay? And that leads us into our D major 7, okay? So what this is a chromatic mediant. Chromatic mediants are basically chromatic thirds. Mediant means third, okay? So it's a third that's not in our key. C sharp or D flat is a third away from A, okay? And then that is leading us nicely into our D major, okay? Now D major is our 4 chord. As I said, we can turn it into a minor chord, so we turn it into a minor chord. We play a D minor 7, okay? And then we turn it into a D minor 9 with that classic voicing again. I do a little slide vibrato as well. And then we go to A, okay? Back to 1. Okay, so the main bulk of the chord progression so far has just been 1 to 4, back to 1 again, but with the passing chords. Now we're back to 1, okay, so we're playing an A major, and here we're going to play a line cliche. So a line cliche is where we would take 1 note from the chord, and we either ascend it or descend it 1 semitone at a time. So we're taking the 5th of the chord, here, we're raising it a semitone, raising it a semitone again, and then descending it a semitone. Okay, so we get an A major, then we get an A augmented when we raise the 5th up, and then we raise the 5th up again, we get an A6, and then we're going to descend the 5th, which is actually the 6th in this chord, down, and we get an augmented chord again. And augmented chords are great to use sort of as like a secondary dominant, so they replace kind of a 5 chord, so we can resolve down a 5th from A back to D, so we're going back to our D major again, okay? So it's been 1-4, 1-4 has been the main bulk of our chord progression, just with these extra little details added in. So we're playing D major, then we're playing a D sharp diminished 7th, which looks like this, okay? Now, I said in the previous video, I think, that you can play diminished 7th chords 1 fret below whatever the next chord is, okay? So we're going to play an E next, because this is D sharp, okay? So we're playing an E11 chord next, okay? And what I do here, a cool little trick, we can take these 2 fingers and move them down a fret. I can't remember what the chord name is, but it's a really cool sounding chord. And then we turn it into another altered dominant chord as well. Play a dominant 7 sharp 5, and we add the flat 9 in there as well, okay? because that's the 5 chord, that leads us really nicely back into 1, which is our A, and I play a nice little A major 7 chord here. A lot of little details in this chord progression really add to the character of the chord progression and make it sound a bit more interesting than just standard 1 to 4, 1, 4, 5, 1, which is the main kind of sort of underlying progression of it. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to be able to create chord progressions like this, all the techniques I've talked about today are in my book, Chord Charisma 2.0. You can grab the first 2 chapters for free, where you'll learn how to create awesome chord progressions with extensions like 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, and create really sophisticated sounds, or you can grab the full copy, which you can learn about now. Chord Charisma 2.0 is a complete guide to writing incredible, jaw-dropping chord progressions. Everything you need to know about harmony and chords is contained within this book. It will take you through the basics of building tension and releasing your chord progressions, and will build upon this foundation with more advanced concepts like jazzy extended chords, borrowed chords from other keys, and cool substitutions to take your chord progression knowledge and ability to the next level. There is a serious amount of content in this book, but it's laid out in a structured fashion with action steps at the end of each chapter to make sure you fully internalized and are actually able to use what you've learned from the book in your playing. That's really, really important. It's a very practical book, which will get you writing new progressions straight away, guaranteed. You'll also have access to personal feedback on your progressions from me via the Chord Charisma Facebook community. And as a bonus, I've thrown in a soloing guide to go with the book, so you won't get lost when you're trying to play licks over your new and improved chord progressions. Head to the link in the description to grab your copy of Chord Charisma 2.0 today.